It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
I don't think I foresaw it. Listen, I think I said it on Sunday. Anytime you're in this league, I mean, everybody's always getting evaluated, and the job of a quarterback is to help your team win football games. So I don't know if I foresaw it coming, but listen, me and Kevin can have a good conversation. It wasn't like it was anything super long or drawn out like that, but got to the point and had a good conversation with him about it, and it is what it is.
Joe Flacco on being benched by Cleveland. They got two rookies. They're going nowhere. Find out what you got in one of the rookies, PK. So they're going to go ahead and start Dylan Gabriel. Start to find out what they have.
Yeah, what they have is a great draft pick for Dante Moore.
A chance to get another quarterback. We're going to have every young quarterback.
Well, have a good one. They don't need everyone. You just need a good one.
Browns are 1-3, playing the Vikings. 7:30. Early game from England. Thursday night football, Niners and Rams. Niners will not have Brock Purdy. Purdy is out. Receivers Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings out. That offense is going to be a little short-handed tonight. Ooh, you want to go early with a lock of the week, anybody? Yak shaking his head. No, he's got somebody else. You already got your game picked out, Yak. Are you even tempted by the Rams and Niners?
Mildly.
Yeah. You, PK, you tempted?
I haven't thought about it.
Yeah. Not the only shorthanded team out there. The Ravens remain tight-lipped about the status of injured quarterback Lamar Jackson. Left in the third quarter of the game with the Chiefs last week with a hamstring injury. Will he be ready to go this week, or is he going to have to miss a game? The Ravens are off to a 1-3 start, and they're playing the Houston Texans this week.
Yeah, well, in the NFL, you can't be. Don't you have to have an injury report?
Yes. But you can put him down as doubtful or probable or whatever, and so will he go or not? And I don't know the timing of that injury report. Have they already put one out, Yak? You're into this kind of thing.
They're more about practice availability during the week. So he didn't practice yesterday, but his status for the game is still TBD.
Jackson Dart, Giants quarterback, said there's always a chip on your shoulder when a team snubs a player like the Saints reportedly did when they bypassed taking Dart with the 9th pick in the draft. New York went on to trade back in the first round and take Dart. Now the Giants play the Saints. So he's got a chance to have a chip on his shoulder and take it out on them. 1-3 Giants, the 0-4 Saints. There's a storyline for a low-end game.
Didn't he go like 29th? 26th? Nowhere there?
Yeah, it was something like that. But honestly, I don't have the number at the
Why
tip of my
pick the
finger.
Saints? I mean, there's
Because
they're
they're
26. That would mean you 25 teams.
They're playing them this week.
Okay, and then what about next week and the week after?
Well, the next week would be the Eagles, so I don't think they passed on him unless they had a pick earlier. I mean, they're obviously their own pick. He went 22.
Wow.
He was 22.
You know that they play the Eagles. Man, you are a scheduled guy. I love it.
You're welcome. DJ PK.
Thank you. I didn't say thank you.
Too late. You're welcomed anyway.
Hashtag college football.
Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin said, quote, "Dynasties are over," close quote. In the SEC, after the league added Texas and Oklahoma, and recently announced they'll add a 9th conference game beginning next year. It feels like the transfer portal and NIL have changed things. He says, when I was at Alabama, it'd be like, go watch the outside linebackers. And there's 6 of them over there that are first-round picks. That's not going to happen anymore because if they don't play, they're going to leave. They can't keep them all anymore. Lane Kiffin has spoken. He's not the only one who's announced that sentiment, but that is someone who was on the inside of one of the powerhouse programs when they were at the very top of the sport. I guess that gives it a little more oomph, but he's echoing what other people said about the talent spreading out in this era.
I think that's true. It's been said many times over. It was predicted before the immediate transfer happened and the NIL happened, and it's come to pass. But I will say, in his day at Alabama, if there were 6 linebackers, there was no federal, local, or state law that guaranteed that those players had to stay at Alabama. They could always leave. They just had to sit out.
Yes. But there are more reasons to leave now, and it is easier to get out now. So
Well, the more reasons is that it's money.
Yep.
And so, but you can also argue, too, though, that the flip side of this is, hey, go to the big school and give it a shot, and then if you're not playing, then you leave. Mm-hmm. So you can argue that, too. So I don't know that the dynasties are over. I mean, the way so the thing about college football is it is not a dynasty, it's dynasties.
Yes.
And so that's where I would disagree with him. Because Ohio State is always going to be at the top.
How spread out is it going to be? How many teams are going to have a chance to win the title? And whereas before, Alabama could go out and win 4 in 5 years, I think that's going to be pretty hard, but it's only spread out to where, and even winning an SEC, just winning the SEC every year. I mean, even leave out the national title. Can you win your conference every year? And you look at how many conference titles Alabama won with Saban. And Georgia went right to the top, but they're not having that kind of run, it doesn't look like. So even at the conference title level, can it get passed around? And will it get passed around in the Big Ten? Will Michigan be back? Will Penn State finally get one? And will Oregon get one? I mean, is Ohio?
Yeah, but
and
is
maybe
that really
Ryan Day
passed
goes
around?
On Nick Saban
it's passed
run.
around among the same teams.
Among 5 teams instead of 2 or 3, or 7 teams instead of 3 or 5 instead
Oregon,
of 2.
because they weren't in there. So this is their second year in the conference. So, add them to the mix. Whoop-de-doo. If you want to add more teams to the mix in the Big Ten, extend invitations to Georgia and Alabama, and you'll have more teams in the mix. That's all they're doing.
But we had a stretch where Oklahoma won 6 in a row in the Big 12, and Alabama won
That's not the Big 12.
7 out of 9, and the Big 10 was Ohio State, I don't know, was it 6 out of 7 years? I have to go back and look it up.
Okay, you're talking about the final team. I'm not talking about the final team. I'm talking about the same teams being in the mix.
Yes, there's still going to be a play. The best players are still going to be in, 8, 10 teams?
Well, that doesn't really change anything.
But nobody's going to win 4 out of 5.
Oh, what's the difference? If your team doesn't have a chance, then who cares if it's 4 out of 5 or 1 out of 5, and it's the same 2 or 3 teams 5 out of 5?
Iowa State lost starting quarterbacks Jontez Williams and Jeremiah Cooper to season-ending injuries, dealing a blow to one of the Big 12 favorites. Both have ACL injuries that require surgery. Immediately, we can start watching Iowa State's pass defense and see how much of an impact that's going to have. The Big Ten's in discussions about a private capital deal that would infuse at least $2 billion into the league and its schools. The discussions include a 10-year extension of the league's grant of rights until 2046. There are 3 different private capital entities being considered by the Big Ten to accept the money from.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, but if it's such a big deal and so great, then the SEC will get one, the Big 12 will get one, and away you go.
Seems like it's more about the structure, that instead of selling them a portion of the school athletic department and all that, they're going to create a new business to raise new money, and they'll own a portion of that, but they won't have control over the actual athletic department, it sounds like, from the way they're talking about structuring it. We'll see if they actually do it and what it looks like when they do.
The Big Ten gets more money. Wow. Breaking news.
Yep.
Film at 11.
And to the earlier point, let's wait and see if it's spread evenly. I doubt it. Or if that new money is split up and the wealthier teams get more money and the gap grows bigger. That's more what I expect.
Well, the gap, you can give Rutgers and Purdue all the money you want. It's not going to make a difference.
Okay, well, money made a difference, so to Indiana. So it's apparently making a difference to Vanderbilt. I mean, it's possible it could make a difference.
Did it make a difference, or was it the coaching? You always told me you had to get the right people in place. Yesterday you were talking about the Mets and how they didn't have the right people in place, so the money didn't matter. Now you change your tune and say the money is the reason why Indiana is on top.
I don't. Well, first off, they're not on top. They're 4th. But when you're Indiana and you were 14th, and when you were 14th, 4th is a whole lot better. And I think the only way you get there is get a bunch more money and spend it wisely on the right people. And if you don't do both
Ohio
of those
State
things,
was 4th last year, so I don't know about that one.
They're not in the playoff.
And Indiana was in the playoff, and Indiana finished ahead of Ohio State last year.
Okay, so now they're 3rd. Great. But I still think it's the same thing. You've got to have the money and invest it. And you've got to spend it on the right people. If you don't get the money, you're not getting to the playoff. And if you spend it on the wrong people, you're not getting to the playoff.
Yeah, but if you get the money and I get the money and I am Ohio State. Okay, you be the one to bet against Ohio State. Good luck with that.
I didn't say I was betting against Ohio State. But thanks for assigning me that.
I did, because I said I'm going to give the same amount of money to Purdue, and I'm going to give the same amount of money to Ohio State. Who's going to win?
Probably Ohio State.
That's
but then
what
I
I'm
go
saying.
betting on brands again, and then you criticize me for that. So, either way, you got me.
I know, because when you get out of bed, I've already anointed you a loser for the rest of your life. We've been over that a million times. That's what you think. I'm not going to change that.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
NBA veteran Al Horford said his decision to leave the Celtics after years with the franchise, his decision to sign with the Warriors, was the next best option in his mind to continue his career. Are we in dog bites man territory right there?
Well, the Celtics didn't want him, and the Warriors did.
Yeah. Mavericks center Daniel Gafford sprained ankle in the first training camp practice. He's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. May not be available when the Mavs open the season October 22nd. He missed the last 2 months of last season due to a grade 3 MCL sprain.
Well, the good thing is that he won't be alone. He'll be able to sit there and talk with Anthony Davis in street clothes.
There you go. Houston Rockets coach Ime Udoka said that the Dorian Finney-Smith likely will not be available in the early going of the season. He's rehabbing from off-season ankle surgery. 4 years, $53 million. No Dorian Finney-Smith.
Not Dorian Finney-Smith. What will they do?
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Naylor, a swing and a high drive, deep right. Back goes Perez. Track, wall, gone! There will be a Game 3 tomorrow. Bo Naylor, a towering 3-run home run to right. Cleveland, a 5-run eighth.
First pitch swinging in the air to deep left field. Happ is feeling for the wall. He's looking up. It's going to go. Waveland Avenue for Manny Machado. A 2-run homer in the 5th inning. And the Padres do add on. It's 3-0.
3-2 pitch. Jazz runs. Pitch swing on line drive right field. Fair ball. Here comes Jazz. Coming around third. Rojas waving him. Jazz coming down the line. Here's the throw to the plate. He slides. He is in there. He's in there. The Yankees have the lead. It's 4-3 New York.
Count still full. The next pitch from Santillan will be the 9th to Mookie. Line. Fair ball down the left field line. Have a night, Mookie Betts. Rojas going to trot in and score. Ohtani held up at third. Mookie Betts 4 for 5 with 3 doubles.
It's one MVP one night. It's another MVP another night. The Dodgers take 2 from the Reds. They slug their way through the wild card series 10-5 and 8-4. They are on to the division series Saturday. They'll face the Phillies. They slug their way through it, PK. The bullpen isn't great. Cincinnati scored 2 more runs in the 8th inning, just as they had an 8th inning the night before. But in this series, the bats were plenty enough to carry them through.
Yeah, well, the tying run was on base in that 8th inning that you speak of. They had the bases loaded, and they're down by 4.
Yep. As opposed to the night before when they loaded the bases and were down by 5. But the Dodgers slugged their way through, but the red flag is there, right?
It's always been there. It's been there all season.
Cleveland breaks it open late, beats Detroit 6-1, so they got a Game 3 in that series. You heard the Yankees scoring in the 8th inning to beat the Red Sox 4-3, force a Game 3 there. And the Padres shut out the Cubbies 3-0 to force a Game 3 there. So 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you got 3 games today. You're missing the early game, PK. No baseball from 11-1. But other than that, you're covered.
Yeah, good time of year.
Giants president of baseball operations, Buster Posey, said the franchise is not going to consider Bruce Bochy as a candidate to be their new manager, but he did say there could be a position with the team for Bochy should he want to rejoin the franchise he led to 3 World Series titles. So maybe not the day-to-day grind in the dugout, but you get his baseball brain into the organization in some way, somehow. DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
PGA Tour's in Jackson, Mississippi for the Sanderson Farms Championship. Patrick Fishburne and Zach Blair in the field this week as the locals are looking to capitalize on opportunities to bolster their 2026 status. Can you get the full tour card? And if not, can you get as many tournaments as possible? Work your way up. It won't be long before they're here, PK. Get our second tour stop.
Yeah, the end of the month.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Well, put down the hammers and the saws and get the crane out of the middle of the arena. There's going to be sports at the Delta Center. Utah Mammoth play their first preseason game at the Delta Center tonight when they take on the Kings. Puck drop set for 7 p.m. Coverage on the KSL Sports Zone begins at 6. And as we told you, it happened in the show yesterday, late in the show yesterday, Connor Ingram to the Oilers for future consideration. So he heads to Edmonton. Edmonton's actually going to put him in the AHL so he can start playing right out of the gate and get back to it. What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Barry Trammell's going to stop by 8 o'clock this morning, sports columnist for the Tulsa World. Chris Armstrong, Utah Mammoth, president of hockey operations, coming up at 9:30. DJ and PK will get the hot takes or toast. The question of the day is next.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Deion Sanders is very relevant, and it's cool that he says nice things about Kalani. Because Deion is so electric, everything he does is news, and saying nice things about the BYU head football coach is cool. And if you spend time with Kalani Sitake, you're going to like him. I bet you $1 zillion if you spend a few minutes with that guy, you're like, oh, this guy's cool.
I also think game recognizes game. Deion recognizes Kalani's a good coach. If you don't see that Kalani's good at this, it's a you problem. You know, if you're going to overlook Kalani and not recognize that what he's building is pretty special at BYU and that you're going to have to be prepared for it, you're just probably not a very good coach. But Kalani's done a heck of a job putting this program together. So I think Deion also has enough knowledge to recognize that what Kalani has built is authentic and is real and is something worth respecting. And I'm not saying steal a page out of his book, but recognize that what he's doing is doing it the right way.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Join Hans and Scotty at the El Matador Restaurant, 606 South Main in Bountiful, Friday from noon to 3. El Matador, Utah Mexican food staple for over 50 years. Time for hot takes or toast. Question of the morning with Barry Trammell, Big 12 guru, coming up at the top of the hour. If it's not your team, who do you want to see win the Big 12?
Oh, that's easy.
Caleb had an easy answer. Anyone but Utah.
So you got 14 chances.
Yes. Well, yes, theoretically you do have 14. We're already crossing a couple of them off. Oklahoma State, West Virginia, not going to do it. But yeah, to your point, any one of them, right? Anybody, get it together in any given year.
Yeah.
Chad, Utah, and only Utah. I'm not rooting for any other team but Utah.
That's not true.
I hear Chad stamping his feet.
He's wrong. He doesn't even know himself.
If Utah gets eliminated and BYU's getting close, is there a chance Chad's going to root for somebody else?
Yeah.
It does seem like a pretty high possibility.
There's 7 other teams he's going to root for. They're going to play 9 conference games.
Whoever can beat BYU along the way, knock him out of that title game.
Oh, for sure.
And then if he gets in the title game, well, there'll be another team that he'll either be an 8th team or one of the 7 that he's rooting for the second time.
Yeah. That's what a rivalry's about.
Yep. Ryan is rooting for a meteor. If he doesn't get his team, he wants a meteor to strike the stadium. No game.
Or they can create a pandemic again.
Pretty violent, Ryan. GR says Utah. And go Dodgers. Don't get conflicted on the question here, GR. Stay focused. Gonna get distracted.
Go Utes and go Dodgers, huh?
Yeah, right.
Well, got a chance there for both of that to happen.
Steve and Daniel go with Cinderella, baby. Iowa State.
Iowa State, Cinderella?
Over 100 years of waiting for a title. Maybe not Cinderella. Maybe like a jinx team. I don't know. It's been a long drought.
Well, yeah, but that's why these teams, that's why somebody from Arizona State 2 years ago came up to me and said, when they were in Utah and got beat 55-3, before that game said, we are ecstatic about being in the Big 12. We think we can compete and win at a level that we did not do in the Pac-12. And it took 1 year for that prophecy to come to pass. And Iowa State's right in that boat. Same boat. In fact, that boat is a luxury yacht because there are so many teams that are in that same or on that same luxury yacht. You're in a boat on a yacht. So I got to get my prepositional phrase there correct. And I think what he was saying to me, as I've thought about it, in these, we're literally coming up on 2 years, right? Because it is at that time that, they were going in that direction. They knew they were still in the Pac-12 then when he said that, right? That 55-3 debacle was when they were in the Pac-12, right?
Yep.
And so he said that to me, knowing that the next year who was going to be in the Big 12. And that was last year, their first year, obviously, for these schools that were in the Pac-12 to be in the Big 12. And he said it with such conviction that when I listen to people, I like to talk to them face to face, and you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their face and their whole body language to know, not necessarily that it's true, but that they really believe it. And a lot of times, the things that that they really believe, it can't be true in the moment because they're talking about things to come. I told you that time when somebody said to me at Utah, oh, we're going to beat Oregon this week. And I chuckled, and we're walking off the practice field. You can't even do that anymore. You can't get out there like we used to. And he stopped, and basically when I had a little chuckle laugh, like, yeah, okay. And he stopped right in his tracks, as they say, looked at me and said, no, I am serious. We got this. And then they went out and hung 60 on him, right? It's the same type of deal. I always trust my instincts there. And when this man said that to me, okay, they really believe it. Now, they had to actually get in the conference for it to come to pass. And so far, that statement is 1 for 1. And as you think, or at least I think about it, I think that a team like Iowa State could say the same thing. And they were right there in the final. They had some turnovers and things went against their way, and they lost the game. I get that. But they were right there. And Iowa State has this opportunity to really take off. And I think it can be true. Absolutely, I think it can be true. And so what happened 100 years doesn't really matter because things have changed dramatically. And that's where we're at. And so it's going to be interesting to see. We may only have this conference until 2030 in its current configuration. But when we get there and we look back, who are the teams that we're going to look at as far as, they really took control? I think Iowa State has one of those opportunities. Certainly, I think that BYU and Utah do. And obviously, I've been talking about Texas Tech because there isn't that certified perennial big dog that it's proven itself year after year. Now, the Utes at the end of the Pac-12 had proven, in the last couple of years proven that they could be there. Well, it's a new set of teams, a new conglomeration. Can they do it? I think they can, but they have to do it. And there's a bunch there. That's what makes this thing, among other reasons, exciting, is that it's there for the taking. Who's going to take it?
Those 4 teams, Arizona State and the other 3, that don't have to live in the shadow of Oregon and USC. Not that you can't beat them, because obviously Utah did, but the deck is stacked against you. And Iowa State had the deck stacked against them with Oklahoma and Texas for so long.
Right.
And to be out of the shadow of those, man, to have that level of hope and think, okay, the playing field is way more even now than it was. I totally get why your source, or whoever you had that conversation with at ASU, would think that. And it did.
It was just an athletic official whom I've known for many years.
Yeah, it paid off right out of the gate for them, and it came very close to paying off for Iowa State.
Yeah.
Now, I totally get going with the team that hasn't done it, right? It's the feel-good story. Oh, it's been 100 and whatever. I think it's 113 years now since they won the Missouri Valley Conference by going 2-0. Okay. Wow. Everything has changed now. But there are people going in a different direction. And I get that a lot of people go for Iowa State, but how about this? Bleeding Blue says, if BYU can't do it, I want Texas Tech. They have the best chance of knocking off SEC and Big Ten teams. He wants a Big 12 win. Or wins, plural, but you got to get the first one first, in the playoff. So I get it. Does that help the league down the line? If you're in the next year, you're going to be seated better, get a home game or whatever? Or is it just going to make you feel better? Just like, at least one of us can do it.
I don't know about that, though.
Because you might, in the process, create a monster. I mean, it could benefit the whole league, but it would benefit Texas Tech the most.
Yeah.
And they've already got the money,
dominates,
and they get a little momentum. Suddenly, you don't have to compete with USC, Oregon, or Oklahoma, or Texas. But if Tech becomes the new king of the hill because they got the most money, and then they start getting winning, and that creates its own momentum, maybe you've just grown a new monster.
Well, I think that's already happening.
Yeah, I can see why you would say that. But it is already happening, but it hasn't happened yet. And one thing the monster has to have is a title, and then 2 in a row. And if not 3 in a row, 3 out of 4, right? And then it keeps building on itself. But you're right. We might be seeing it right now. And it's in the tree is in the process of growing, and everyone else is going to live in the shade of that big tree.
Well, that's what I'm predicting. I've been predicting it all along. There's a reason why I predicted Texas Tech to be in the final. We've already seen it, man. We saw it with their softball program. There's already hardcore evidence. It's not hypothetical. They came out of nowhere in softball, and it was done because of the finances. And so what, man? They're playing by the rules, right? And that's what they'll tell you. BYU will tell you because they get a little sticky and a little queasy, and they say they don't really like to be thought of as bought it. Right? Even the Oregon people, when they were doing that with Phil Knight, they want to act like it's fair competition when it's not. But they're playing by the rules, and as long as you're doing that, who cares if it's fair competition? And they would get queasy about it. And Texas Tech is telling you, well, we're just doing what everybody else can do. They're defensive about it. And BYU, we're not the highest bidder. Yeah, so you offered $1 less. I mean, great. So you're not the highest bidder. And I pushed back with Santiago down in Texas, and I said, yeah, sometimes you are the highest bidder. I mean, you're never not the highest bidder. You can't keep saying that every single time for every single male and female athlete. It doesn't work that way. There are sometimes you are the highest bidder, and so what? Who cares? You're perfectly allowed to do that, so have at it, and way to go. And so nothing wrong with that, and that's where we're going. And I've already seen it. I just don't think it's going to necessarily be good for you if you're not there, and Texas Tech is. Whoop-de-doo. Was it great for the PC2A that Vegas was winning all that basketball? No, it was great for Vegas. But Juris used to say that all the time, under his breath, off to the side. What do I care about the WAC for? What good does that do me? If I get my team where I want it to be, that's all that matters.
If it's not your team, who do you want to see win the Big 12? Do you think a lot of the teams in the Big 12, because the league is still so new, that it's just a big old shrug? I mean, Iowa State's got a specific story. Texas Tech has a specific story. But a lot of these teams, they still don't resonate here yet. They only resonate in how you play against them and you watch them because you're going to play them the next week. But do you think most of these teams generate any emotion, vibe, feedback from people?
Yes. I think
what are the other storylines that generate that emotion?
I think BYU and Utah hate ASU.
Okay.
And
I can see that.
They hate each other.
They won it last year. And for fans of a certain age, there's stuff that goes back. Well, more recently for the Utes, obviously.
I don't think it's. You don't think it's
that?
40 years
You think it's
ago.
the fact that they won it and they recruit against each other?
Yeah, and Kenny Dillingham lost his mind at that 1 second to go.
Lose a game and get rubbed the wrong way. That is the best way.
And see, the fans, the local BYU fans don't have much interaction with Cincinnati.
Right.
But the local BYU fans, many of them have
an interaction
with Tempe.
Yeah.
And they've got family there, or they're from there, or they can go there. And they put in 50,000, and let's just say 500 drunk students treated you badly.
That's enough.
And that's what you're going to remember. Yeah. I had a local media member say to me last year in Tempe as we were walking off the field, "Boy, your fans, man, they're surely classless." Yeah. Because you had drunk students, and so let's make it the fan who jumped out and tackled the Utah cheerleader. Your fans at BYU, you surely are classless. I mean, there's one dude, right? And I looked at him like, yeah, drunk students acting outrageously. Who knew? I mean, that's going to happen every single time you go to that stadium. Every single time. And so, but anyway, that creates negative perception, negative feeling. So yes, it's regionally, and we're not in Texas, but we know about Tempe, we know about Tucson, we know about Provo, we know about Salt Lake, just like the folks in Texas know about each other. We don't know about them because we're not there. There's not going to be a whole bunch of teams because it's not regional. It's not like the Mountain West. It's not like the WAC. If you have that and you have the local, they have the feelings for each other. So, yes, it's just not going to be conference-wide.
Deion in Colorado, the only other one that's really going to pump anybody up, get anybody fired up. His celebrity, people love him or hate him. Or they're just not close enough now. We've already seen that, so it's not going to matter anyway.
Colorado was never part of us, right? They've jumped around leagues constantly. They jumped before the other Pac-12 schools jumped. It seemed like they've wanted out from day one, and I don't think there's that identity with Colorado that much. But maybe now, since they chanted and that's become a big deal, and they had fights in the stadiums or in the stands. I mean, blah blah blah. But it doesn't look like maybe I don't know how it's going to play out, but it doesn't look like every year BYU and Utah are going to be playing Colorado. So, but that's the nature of these conferences. I'm sure the Big Ten is feeling the same way with Washington and Oregon and Rutgers and Maryland and all.
Yeah.
You've got your rivals that you've had and you have history with, and the fans are geographically close enough that it's easier to go to games, or it is something that you have fans in Ohio that go to work in Michigan and vice versa, and obviously you got Michigan and Michigan State there. So I think that's just the nature of these spread out conferences. I doubt there's very many folks from Eugene or the state of Oregon that are living and working in Ohio, so you don't interact with them that much, right? Okay, well, that's the price that you've decided to pay. And, there's positives and negatives and everything, most likely.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Barry Trammell, sports columnist for the Tulsa World, coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll talk to him about all of this. Got a new face with the Jazz organization. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. The undefeated Cougars return home to Provo for a Friday night showdown against the Mountaineers of West Virginia. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then catch the post-game show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com, as well as a complete wrap-up the following day on College Football Saturday beginning at 10 a.m. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Artist of the day, Tom Petty, passed away 8 years ago today, 2017. Band of the day brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts events in 2025, check out livenation.com. DJ and PK, Marque Denmon is the new Jazz Arena announcer. Calling card. What's the phrase? What's the go-to line? What should it be?
Got to come up with something, huh?
Jeff says he should buy one of PK's. You got some extra lines lying around? You know, something he could pick up? Get a deal on it.
A deal? Do I have anything? Well, if I have something, then it wouldn't be his.
Unless you sell it. America.
It's got to be his.
Capitalism.
It's got to be his, man.
There's a lot of negativity, okay? There's a lot of negativity around this. Why? Jason, and that's another loss, folks. Ryan, we're still terrible. David, Jazz lose. He'll get plenty of practice saying that. The negativity. Remember when, is this the market growing up, getting more cynical? Does that equate to growing up? It was a different vibe in the 90s. Everybody was so supportive. The media didn't write many negative stories. You came in from L.A. Gordon came in from L.A. You both felt it, and you guys didn't think you were very negative, but even a little thing, and everybody was calling Gordon in his hotel room. I can still remember I was on an airplane. I didn't know what was happening. That was in the days we weren't connected the way we are now. You're sitting in the airport. You don't know what's going on. You land. Gordon wrote this about Carl. You got to call him. And I call him. Hey, Gordon, I'm supposed to call you. But a little bit made a big splash then. And it seems like now, and maybe it's because we have more teams. You know, when you only have one team, you can't really shun it because then you don't have a team. But if you're sitting in New York, well, you got 9 teams in the 4 sports we've rooted for a century or whatever.
Okay, but what teams did we add?
You can shun one. What? Hockey. We got another one.
Yeah, but that was this year.
Yep. Well, it's new. It's new. And to be fair,
they've only grown up the last year.
And college teams are getting treated more like pro teams. And BYU looks like with the money, they're set to win, right? They've gone out and, well, in one case, hired a coach off a staff that was winning. And in another case, hired a guy out of the NBA who's got a huge rep. So maybe it's not fair to just label it to pro teams. If you have college teams that can do stuff on a big stage.
I don't think there's any more passion for BYU football. I think it's always been there.
So it's just all the losing. Don't overthink it. It's like, yeah, people were pumped because they won 50, and it'd be the same thing if they were winning 50 now and losing in the playoffs.
Right, because if you win 50 games during the regular season,
you got to be doing
even
something
if it's remote, you still have a little bit of a chance, right? But now, I mean, obviously they're coming nowhere near winning 50 games. So, and it's been a pretty good losing run here.
Yeah.
Or I guess pretty bad would be the better way to phrase it.
But it is 3 years in a row, and there aren't many examples in Jazz history where you can look at 4 straight losing seasons.
Yeah, and then when you go the people who are paid by the team to sort of set the public agenda, like Locke, are telling you that they're not going to have many wins, and he's calling it like he sees it, right? I don't have any problem with him saying that because that's what he sees, and he has to have some credibility.
And we both think
can't go out there and just
we both think he's
sunshine.
We both think he's going to be right.
Of course. Everybody thinks it's
everybody
going to be
thinks that, right? He says it, and we're all nodding like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, there's no other way around it. This is what they've decided to do. If I have an objection, which is minimal, but this is something that should have been done to the extent 3 years ago or so. And what took them as long as it did? Then maybe they can say, well, we didn't have the draft picks, and we had to draft the guys to get to this point. And okay, that's what I say. That my only objection, which is minimal, is that, and they can say, well, we didn't have all these young guys until now. What do you want us to do here? I'll say, okay. And, they flushed out the trade market and saw what was available, which in the end wasn't much. So they face reality, and rather than be thick-headed about it and continue, no, we're gonna wait for that first-round draft choice for fill-in-the-blank player that they just got rid of. Well, if it's not there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, do you go 4 and 5 years? That doesn't make any sense. So they did what they did and got rid of the guys and got what they could because the market that they wanted wasn't there. So why knock your head against the wall 5 times in a row when the 6th time is going to be the same result as the prior 5 times? That's why I say my objection is minimal. And here we are now, and that's why I said when we went to Media Day, for me, and I know Jazz fans don't want to hear it. I get it. I understand it completely because you want your team to win. That's the whole point of being a fan. For me, this is it's a new start now, and people want to crack me upside the skull when I say that. What are you talking about, new start? We just had three crappy seasons. I understand that. But I think now all not half feet or 1 foot, everybody's in, and away we go at this point. And so that's what we have here. And for me, with the losing in mind, this is the most curious, most intrigued season for me as opposed to the other 3.
Because maybe they bottomed out and it's on the way back up now. With young guys, mostly. I mean, there's obviously a few exceptions on the roster. But most of the minutes can be played by young guys who have a chance to be part of the future. Whereas before they were playing guys as they slowly tore it down and you thought, okay, this is a guy they brought in. I mean, from the second they traded for John Collins, it felt like that's a guy they could flip and get something. And ultimately they really didn't. The trade market ended up being very different, as Austin Ainge talked about on Monday. The contract matters more than the talent right now because the league is capped out because the salary cap hasn't been growing. So that didn't work.
Yeah,
but they bottomed out now. It's 17 wins. Yeah. Well,
and you have some promising young guys.
Maybe whatever it is that Mark ends up saying that becomes a catchphrase revolves around a player who hasn't broken out yet, and we don't know. So maybe it just can't be written yet. Got to see who it is and what happens.
This is the place.
Ooh, see, there it goes. All right, DJ and PK, we got to take a break. When we come back, Barry Trammell joins us, all things Big 12 with the sports columnist from the Tulsa world. We will talk with him next, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.